When it comes to identity, hair plays a huge part. How we cut it, wear it, and color it says a lot about us and even more about the society we live in. Karin Jones is a Vancouver artist and instructor. She was an artist in residence at the Burrard Arts Foundation and created an exhibit focusing on the damaging effects of standardized ideas of beauty. Hi, Karin. Thanks for joining us. So, Karin.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes, great to have you here. So we're showing images of your hair art made from hair, of course, but you want us to think about the origins of this hair. So where did this hair come from?
So these are hair extensions that I purchased from a shop in Vancouver called Abantu. They sell a lot of hair extensions, and it is human hair. I did a lot of research about the hair trade a number of years ago because it really is an interest in the hair trade that set me on my journey thinking about art and identity. And so a lot of the hair extensions come from Asia. There are also sources in Russia and Ukraine, I think, but a lot of it comes from Asia. And so the hair is actually acquired from women in a number of ways, some honest, some not. And then it's processed for sale around the world and mostly in the West, because that's where people can afford to buy it.
Right.
So, yeah.
And so how big is the wig and hair extension trade that you talk about that sources hair elsewhere?
Oh, it's massive. I mean, I can't really put a dollar amount on it, but it's like definitely millions, maybe billions. It's a huge industry, and you've probably seen in the last few years it's getting even bigger, where I noticed a shop in Metrotown recently that sells mostly hair extensions, and it's just really exploded in the last few years.
And a lot of this hair that gets imported, it doesn't look the same way as when it, came off of somebody's head. So what does it say about us that we import hair and then change the way that it looks?
Well, the interesting thing to me is just that it's actually somebody else's body part. And so it's processed in different ways. This hair most likely has been bleached because for this exhibition I'm using mostly blonde, or actually all blonde hair. And I just was thinking about the idea that, when I was growing up, I was a kid in the 70s, and obviously I'm a mixed race person, and around what I was seeing around me on magazine covers and everything, all of the images that we would see of beauty back then were of these blonde, blue-eyed women. So I was really thinking about this blondness as a commodity. So you can actually go out and purchase blondness. And I wanted people to kind of think about that and think about where those ideals of beauty come from and how it relates to their own identity.
Absolutely, and it's interesting, as you say, that it's actually somebody else's body part. Never thought about it that way. So what is it like to work with this hair? What's the texture like?
It really does feel like you're running your hands through somebody else's hair. It's hair. It doesn't feel any different than it would on somebody's head.
And what did you do to the hair to make your point about Western beauty standards and erasure of culture?
Yeah, so I basically, there is actually a long history of, I was looking into a lot of Victorian things that happened in Victorian times, and there's a tradition of making jewelry and actually wall art out of hair. They used to make intricate hair wreaths usually it was a sentimental process. It was hair from family members, from loved ones, and they would turn it into art or jewelry. And so for these pieces, I'm thinking about, okay, so this hair that I've purchased is completely anonymous. I don't know anything about the women whose heads it came from. In most cases, you can't even tell which country it came from. So I'm kind of referencing that time of that sentimental, more personal art, but I'm turning it into something by making it something very abstract and geometrical. It's talking about how, okay, well, if this is a body part, how are we anonymizing it, and why are we anonymizing it? And is there just kind of thinking about our relationship to that.
And so I also want to know, of course, how can we actually see your work in person?
Yeah, so because I had this residency at the Burrard Arts Foundation, there's an exhibition there that I opened after the residency, and this work is on show until March 19th. So you can go down to the Burrard Arts Foundation, 258 East First, and have a look at my show and also the other artist, Sarah Khan, who they're usually two artists who are in residency at the same time.
And you know, you've touched on it a little bit, but Karin, what do you want all of us who come and see your exhibit? What do you want us to walk away with as a message?
I guess I want people to think about, like, definitely for me, it's about race and culture and ethnicity. But even if you think of it not in those terms, I want people to kind of think about how women's beauty has been commodified and think about why we have certain ideas of what's beautiful and what isn't. And yeah, just kind of think about those things and how do we feel about those things, and are we happy about them? Are we not? Yeah.
Well, you've certainly given us a lot to think about. Thank you so much for this, Karin. We appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thank you so much.